Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and I have completed every achievement from the latest expansion. This is our achievement guide where I go through every single class achievement, neutral achievement, and give you some tips on how to complete them. I put together this Google Doc which has basically descriptions of every achievement, recommended deck lists or tips if there isn't a deck in particular I'm recommending, which you can find linked below. And this all takes a long time to put together, so if you enjoy this content, it would mean a lot to me if you'd hit that sub button, give the video a like, share it with whoever, you know, might want to gain this XP, because if you complete all these achievements before the expansion basically is replaced by the next expansion, the next one goes live probably in April, you can earn over 17,000 experience points, which can help you level up on the rewards track, earn more gold, get some free stuff. Before we get into the achievements though, it's important to note what modes actually qualify. I did these all in wild for the most part. Basically, you can complete these either in standard or wild ranked modes. Casual does not count. Friendly games do not count. Tavern Brawl doesn't count. However, the arena, you can complete achievements there if you happen to draft some of these cards, or casual or heroic duels. And that's probably the best place to get it done if you're missing some of these cards. You might be able to draft them in buckets, and the buckets go by expansion now. So if you just put your deck full of cards from the latest expansion, March of Lich King, there's a decent shot you might be able to get one of those and maybe get around it. But otherwise, yeah, it's kind of silly that to complete them, you basically need the card. And also, one thing I do want to mention is there's no bonus XP now that they added a new class. They simply took 3 neutral achievements away and put them in the Death Knight spot. They had to do that, and that is kind of a bummer. Anyways, let's dive into the brand new class, the Death Knight, and their achievements. First, we have the limit does not exist. You need to gain 80 health with Vampiric Blood. It's a 2-mana spell, just, you know, play it. Play Blood Death Knight. You can discover some more of them with your options, like a Scorpid or a school teacher possibly, but regardless, if you play Blood Death Knight, you're gonna get it done eventually. You're gonna notice a trend, by the way, in a lot of these achievements. Really grindy this time around and not particularly fun. Next we have Parting Gifts, which is draw 10 cards with Acolyte of Death in one game. I just basically spammed a bunch of tokens, undeads and all of that, and try to draw 10 in a game. You just get a lot of undeads on the board, try and get them to come back or just rush in. You can run 2 Acolytes of Death, so it doesn't have to be all off of one, and this one wasn't too particularly painful, especially when you have a bunch of tokens on the board. And last, there's Blight Widow. Summon 80 zombies with Blight Fang to play the token like Unholy Death Knight or whatever. Tomb Guardians, the 4-mana spell that summons zombies, also counts. So you don't have to have Blight Fang. You can also use that 4-mana spell. Those zombies count towards it, so be aware of that. Demon Hunter is Soul Survivor. Discover 50 minions with bound soul from Soul Eater Scythe. Just play spell Demon Hunter. I mean, what else are you gonna do? And then you get the minions and you discover them, and then you're done. Just important to note, you cannot have the same minion bound. So if you have like 2 of the same minion, you can only get 1 in soul, so be aware of that. Also, if you're looking for a specific minion to complete an achievement with, this spell Demon Hunter can be good, because every time you draw bound soul, you can discover exactly the card you're trying to complete your achievement with. So some neutrals you might want to consider for that. We have Paxareal Wallop. Play 2 0-cost Vengeful Wallopers in one game. I just played a bunch of draw outcast cards and Philosophy, which can copy this minion, and yeah, it's really not that difficult. Got this done in a couple of games. And also important to note, none of these decks are built to win. They're built to get the achievements done. So you might join me in the dumpster when you get these complete if you decide to do them. We have for the Fell of It, summon 90 Fell Fiends with deal with Devil. Again, I just played spell Demon Hunter because you have to run only spells, or with the Soul Eater Scythe. Important to note, when Jace recasts this, it does count. So if you want to run Jace, basically it will count. It'll double dip on Deal with the Devil. And if your board is like full and you play the spell, it'll still count as well. So you don't have to worry about a full board. Next we have the Druid achievements, and the only bugged one I'm aware of, or the only negatively bugged one I'm aware of. Wither, you killed her, and that's of recording this, of course. Destroy 25 minions with Wither. I played like this token Druid style thing with a bunch of undeads, and what's important to note, it will not count unless you overkill the minion by 1. If it's got 4 health, you need 5 undead on the board, it'll kill it, and you'll get a bit of a whatever extra, but still, it has to overkill by 1 or more. If you exactly kill it, it won't count. So if you're noticing that, that's the workaround. You have to overkill the minions by 1, and you can Moonlit Guidance and also like Nature Studies and try and discover more. We have the Baby's First Scourge, resurrect 7 minions with 1 Unending Swarm. No specific deck recommendation here. You could just play Scales of Onyxia or Flipper Friends or just a bunch of 1-drops and play this. It is ridiculously easy. You'll get it done. Just play any cheap minions, play it. You'll get a full board as long as, 7 have died. We have Get Wrecked. Spend 200 armor on minions with a Nubracon's effect. I played this janky ass multitasking of achievements. You have like Translocator. We'll talk about that later, but I put that in a lot of decks to try and speed that achievement out. But yeah, just, you can Zola it, you can brand it, you can double its effect. You can also go Violet Illusionist as well as Snip Snap and go like infinite. And even though you're not taking damage technically, it counts towards the achievement. I didn't do that, but I've been told that works. So that's also another strategy. Next, we have Hunter with Bullseye. Draw 6 cards with 1 Conjured Arrow. Played Arcane Hunter, buffed it up, got it done. Really not that difficult. You just got to get it up to add 4 spell damage to it. And you can also play spell damage minions and things like that. So really not too difficult. We have the Tag 'em and Bag 'em. Destroy 20 minions with your hero and Keen Eye Spotter's help. Just play Keen Eye Spotter and kill a bunch of minions. You can play that 0-mana spell that like trades it in and get it back to try and get more of them. And that's basically it. You can get copies of it, I believe, with Stitch Tracker. So there's multiple ways to get more of them. But yeah, you're just killing minions while having Keen Eye Hunter on the board. And last for Hunter, we have Rain of Arrows. Deal 300 damage with arcane spells as Hunter. The new 1-mana spell is great if you can amplify that. Just get a bunch of damage with arcane spells. And again, it's not too crazy, but just amplify it with arcane spell damage. How crazy is that? For Mage, we have Take a Mana, Leave a Mana. Cast 200 spells for less than their original cost as a Mage. I double dipped on this. There's also one we'll talk about in a second with Arcane Bolt. But basically, I played Mizaki Mage, and Incanter's Flow discounts your entire deck, basically. That counts, as well as Sorcerer's Apprentice and all those other style cards. I think it's the new Apprentice in there. But regardless, anything is discounted. And I have Sunwell in here, by the way. You might want to throw Sunwell into like every deck you can, because there's basically a Sunwell achievement of playing Sunwell cards. But even Sunwell counts. It's discounted, right? So, yeah, try that out. It works pretty well, and it'll work for also... There's a bunch of achievements this one catch, like Mana Thirst as well. This one's good to multitask with, and you don't have to have Mizaki or anything either. It just was something for me to do to amplify the arcane bolts. We have Quick Romaths. Recast 15 spells with 1 Grand Magister Romath. I just played like this janky quest mage, and the coins count, the First Flames, Ray of Frost, whatever you want. It all counts, and then when you play the extra turn card, that also counts. So like, even if you say didn't complete it all in that one go, you can play the 4-mana spell or Potion of Illusion and get more of them. That one didn't take too long, and it's also really degenerate. And Arcane Bolt, deal 300 damage with Arcane Bolt. Again, the Mizaki Mage went really quickly. Mizaki can get pretty big, especially when you have all these 0-mana arcane bolts. It's pretty strong. Paladin, we have Be Positive. I would never. You play 15 minions that cost 8 or more with the effect of Blood Crusader. I just put like this Blood Crusader Paladin where you play Order in the Court, and then I'm gonna get my Blood Crusaders and then just cheat out the 8-drops like Templar, Brasswing, or whatever. You can bounce it, but honestly, it's probably not worth it because you're not gonna survive that long, and it's 15. It takes a bit of time, but it got the trick done, and I did some other stuff in there. We got Lost in Time after playing Anachronos. Destroy the enemy hero before the minions return. I did this in an arena. I got one randomly from Bone Drake, and then killed somebody as a Death Knight. I was going to do a style of this deck. I think it should work. Holy Wrath Paladin, where you can basically tutor your way, where you play Anachronos, and then you clear the board, and then you can basically play Order in the Court right after into Holy Wrath and then blow up your opponent. I think that's probably a good strat. It's an OTK style. You can run more than Cheval. You can run like Mountain Giants, Molten Giants, whatever you want. But I think Holy Wrath could work. Otherwise, just play some kind of like aggressive Paladin deck, play Anachronos, and just try and kill your opponent. There's no real specific strategy there. We have Blood Bank. Take 300 damage from your own cards as Paladin. So this one's bugged in a good way. You can do self-damage stuff with Paladin, whatever, but it's a lot easier to use either a Nubracon from Druid or Deathbringer Sourfang, because at least as of recording this video, they count. And the Nubracon thing, you might just get it done while going for that one, because yeah, that self-damage, it counts. It counts for some reason, even though they're not Paladin cards. I don't know why, but it's a positive. So I don't really have a Paladin deck. in particular to recommend because I just feel like that stuff is just faster. Priest, we have a Graveyard Smash, summon 25 undead in one game as Priest. I just played this Rager Big Priest because you have to summon a bunch of Ragers in one of the neutral achievements and just keep bringing them back over and over. Works out pretty well, and it goes with some other achievements. We have the 10 out of 10 Vision, discover 10 different shadow spells from Visions of Darkness that requires a new legendary, and yeah, you play it and you discover 10 different spells. It's really not much more to it than that. It's really quite easy. We have Scare Tactics, play 120 cards, Haunted by Haunting Nightmare. This one's really annoying. You can see, again, I kind of double dipped with what I was doing, and you can raise dead and get more copies back into your hand. But overall, it doesn't stack. Like, let's say your whole hand are haunted. If you haunt it again, it doesn't stack. You can only haunt a card once. So it's going to take some time. There's no fast way to do it. It's just a pain. We have the Rogue achievements, Imminent Demise, destroy the enemy hero with a transformed Shadow of Demise 10 times. It played Pirate Rogue with some burn in Shadow of Demise, and it really didn't take that long because Pirate Rogue is busted, get your opponent low, and then Sinister Strike them a couple times in the face, or Eviscerate or Wicked Stab. Really not that bad for one that you have to win with. And you might even climb, because I played it with Pirate Rogue when my MMR was bad. I climbed with it because, yeah, Pirate Rogue's stupid. We have Shaken Not Stirred, played 15 different mixed concoctions. I play the Concoction Rogue, which also went with the next achievement. You'll see that in a second. But there's only 15 combinations. So try and keep a note, like an Excel sheet if you can, of the ones you've done, because you can like basically put them together with the potion belt, right? Or whatever it's called. You can kind of figure it out. But if you lose track like I did, I had one left. I'm like, I don't know what it is, and it just happened. So try and keep track of it, but there are only 15 combinations. So be aware of that. We have Obnoxiously Noxious. This is what I double dipped with it. And on the Undead Rogue thing where I used a Mermy, because Mermy's an undead Murloc, to activate my Noxious Infiltrator, and you can give it Rush. If it attacks into something, it kills it. That works too. It doesn't have to be just the Battle Cry. You have Shadow Step and all that stuff. So 50 takes a while, but if you attack into stuff, you double dip, it doesn't take as long as you might think. Shaman, we have Murlocalypse. Now give 6 minions a death rattle with 1 rock kill. Just spam a bunch of tokens, throw a rock kill down. You have like the fishing card with the Piranha Swarmers is probably your best bet to just easily get tokens on the board. I think even like that 4 mana summoned 1/1 Murlocs you could put in there as well in Wild. Lots of options, really not that difficult. We have DIY Death Rattle, have the Scourge Troll die with the Death Rattle 25 times. Again, just give it Death Rattle, it dies a bunch, but in Wild, you have like Ancestral Spirit, and you have Reincarnate, which can really speed up the process. You can proc it right away yourself, bring multiple back, and then try and spam it with like a 3 mana Death Rattle that gives all that stuff, deal 3 damage. It goes pretty quickly. This one is the worst one of them all, by the way. Friends on the Other Side, summon 100 minions from the other side in a big spell shaman I built. You don't need like a Noggin Fogger, but it's fun. I put it in there. I put Lorthamar in there, just trying to speed up the Lorthamar achievement. But overall, there's no great way of cheating out the spell. There just isn't. There's the 2 mana spell that can heal you for 5 and discount a spell randomly in your hand. That's your best bet or Farsight into it. And yeah, this one just takes a long time. I don't know why they wanted 100, but yeah, you'll get it done eventually. You're gonna lose so many ranks because that card and deck is atrocious. But yeah, if there's one achievement not to do from this batch, that's probably the one to skip. Warlock, we have Scavenging Cube, summon 16 different undead with Amorphous Slime. This list here, I just kept changing undeads in and out over and over. Once I discarded one, I put another one in. You could try and double dip by like Expire Merchant your Amorphous Slime and get multiple Amorphous Slimes, but overall, just keep track of the 16 different undeads and you'll be fine. Self-Indulgent, trigger single Devour of Souls effect 6 times. Did this in one game, playing like Mine Warlock, it's gross. This is actually a meta combo in Standard, and yeah, you'll get the achievement done and also feel really dirty about yourself, but you don't have to play Mine. You can play whatever Death Rattle you want, but using Phylactery makes this pretty darn easy. We have Death Hurt, deal 100 damage with Soul Barrage without playing it. I apologize, this list is out of date. It's got Tome Tampering in it, which has since been banned. You don't need it. You can Cataclysm, you can just whatever, discard it with Doom Guards, the new 5 mana 7/7 that's atrocious. Just you'll get it done eventually. I do recommend Duels for this one too, as Duels has the 1 mana hero power that allows you to discard a card from your hand, which is really strong, and you can draft more of these there too. So Duels, especially you can play like just the casual Duels, you don't have to pay the paid one, can work well. So Duels is definitely a good go for that one. We also have Warrior, and these ones mostly suck. You're on fire, give a minion +8/+8 with a single blazing power. Just played in Rage Warrior. It's like a decent deck actually, and you just need what, 7 damage characters. You can theoretically do +9/+9, but +8/+8, so as long as 7 minions are damaged or 6 minions and your hero is damaged, it will activate, giving you the achievement. We have the Boulevard of Broken Spells. I did all these within a Rage Warrior variants, by the way, because it just works. It's like the best archetype in Wild, only archetype in Wild for Warrior, and make your opponent discard 50 spells with Disruptive Spellbreaker. I was able to copy them with Bloodsworn Mercenary, which is an epic, and it's not even in, like a meta wildcard, so if you don't have it, probably wouldn't craft it, but it's a way of copying the minion. You could try Faceless Manipulator, which I think is in the core set, as an option as well. So yeah, you just do that, discard cards. The biggest thing, the most annoying part, is your opponent having to have freaking spells. A lot of times they're playing like an aggro deck, they have no cards, or they play very few spells. That could be annoying, so might take a little bit longer than you would like. There's a Rebirth, a Revive, a Rekindle, where you revive 4 below 80 times. Also annoying, a copy with Bloodsworn. I think there's also a 3 mana 4/3 epic for Warrior. I didn't use it, but when you play a rush minion, you summon a copy of it with 1 health. That could also speed this up, and you just gotta play some fire spells to bring it back. Another one that takes time, and I thought about cubing it, but cubing still keeps the original. It doesn't go back to the prior version. It stays at what it was, so it just seemed slow and didn't work out so well. Anyways, neutral achievements, the least neutrals we've ever had, because again, they removed 3 to give Death Knight. They could not let us have, it would have been like, I think 1100 more XP, which is what each class gets, I think, is 1100 XP. They couldn't spare it. We didn't get extra. I think that's silly. But anyways, here comes the Sun. Add 200 spells to your hand with the Sunwell. No deck recommendation, just slot this into decks. There's a lot you can do. It's a decent card, but there's nothing like I'm gonna say that's gonna directly get this done quicker. Maybe a Moonlight Guidance in Druid to get copies of it, or Shadow Visions in Priest. Other than that, it really doesn't take super long if you're doing it while you're doing other stuff. Crystal Springs, play 300 cards with Mana Thirst active. No specific deck again here. The Mage achievement will help a lot, but you're probably playing Astalor already. It's a really good card, and that'll work too. Just be aware the Mana Thirst must be active. You can't just play the Mana Thirst card. Its effect needs to be active, so pick the cheapest ones, but overall, like, they're just not that great. And you'll probably see in a lot of my decks as we went along, I was double dipping with like the 2-drop that freezes, the 3-drop that heals. That's why they're in those lists, but you'll get it done eventually. Enchanted to defeat you, deal 150 extra damage with Enchanter's effect. I did that in that Blood Crusader Paladin because I had buffs and also the AoEs, and both work well. This one really does not take long. No swapsy backsy, swap a minion with one that costs less using Translocation Instructor 30 times. Again, no specific deck. I did this while doing the Druid one mostly because I could like Moonlight Guidance, but just try and hit an expensive minion on the board. Hope it swaps with a cheaper one. There's not much more you could do than that, and they want 30, which is ridiculous to me. This one was one of the last ones I completed, and it's just a pain in the butt, but maybe you can recommend a strategy in the comments below if you have one. I didn't have a great one. Corpse Pile, destroy 30 enemies with Incorporeal Corporal. I did this in Arena. It's a really good Arena card, but I just recommend if you're playing like Aggro Druid, Unholy Demon Hunter, or sorry, Death Knight, throw it into there. It doesn't take that long, and it even counts the enemy hero, which I did kill 1 person with Corporal, so that does count. It doesn't just have to be minions, but it's a lot easier if it's minions. You could also silence it and have it hit more times if you really want to build around it, but it doesn't take that long. Look at all those chickens. Hatch 60 undead chickens for foul eggs. I did it in Rage Warrior. I just double dipped because of Bloodsworn, and it got done because I have all the whirlwind effects and all of that. You could do it in like a Death Rattle Hunter and proc with like Play Dead. Warlock works. There's a lot of different strategies, but but overall, it shouldn't take you that long. That one's not too difficult. We have a brighter future. Play 40 minions that have stats. Their stats double by Lorthamar Theron. Again, in Rage Warrior, because you're drawing a lot, your minions are cheap, and you don't die because you have Armor Smith keeping you alive. So I just did it there. That you can play it wherever, but I just thought that was a really fast strategy. It went really, really quickly in Rage Warrior. A skincare routine, deal 100 damage, shatter skin gargoyle. I would just use the old priest list, the res priest, take a rager out, put this in there. It'll just come back over and over and kill your opponent. It'll be really annoying for them. It won't take you very long. I did it in arena. That's how easy it was for me. The Blight of the Scourge, summon 600 undead. You probably have this one done if you play Death Knight, because your hero power does it and everything you play does it, but you'll probably get it done doing the priest ones. Again, no specific recommendations. Just play Death Knight, do the priest achievements. You'll get it done. Cheese Touch, using Plague Spreader, transform a legendary minion into a Plague Spreader. I got it done with the Undead Warlock because it's an undead. You can bring it back, but I probably recommend like a Death Rattle Rogue where you can tutor it with that 4 mana spell where it'll activate it right away, but you gotta get lucky to hit a legendary, so there's just some luck to it. Pick whatever you think will get it done the quickest, but yeah, it'll get done eventually. Just get lucky. It took me one game. I got really lucky. Armed and Dangerous, give minions +9 attack in one game with Arms Dealer. So again, you can play multiple Arms Dealer accounts. I just did Unholy Death Knight, eventually got it done. Just save it with a bunch of undeads and just go nuts, especially like the 4 mana taunt that creates 2 copies of itself. They all get the buff, which is really good. We have Mark of Destined Death, destroy the enemy hero while empowered by Bone Lord Frost Whisper. I put it to Malagos Druid and it didn't even matter. I just killed my opponent without, I didn't need a fact because I'm Druid, I have 20 mana. But yeah, a Malagos Druid's pretty good. You could get a Malagos out for 0, kill your opponent, whatever kind of combo deck you think will work. Give it a go. And Rage Too Hard, have 75 Scourge Ragers die. The Res Priest, they keep coming back, and it's really good. So there you go, my achievement guide. Feel free to share your own tips and tricks in the comments below. Good luck achievement hunting. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.